Hey guys, this is Felicia Brino with FeliciasWorld.com, and I'm here today to show you a couple of finished projects. So last year, it's been a while, but last spring I showed you how I was picking fabrics for a pink and white scrap quilt, and I finished two projects actually based on that color scheme, and I want to show you how that turned out and some of the decisions that I made after I had started the project. So here's what happened. I started making the pink and white blocks, and I'll show you this in more detail later. And after having made about 4 or 5 of them, I decided that I thought that the pink and white gave me a little bit too little contrast. And my thinking at that point is based on the fact that my quilts will be hanging in a booth somewhere, and they need to kind of grab a lot of attention. So I made my 4 blocks, decided I needed a little bit more contrast, and turned those 4 blocks just into a pillow, which I actually really like. I think this is really pretty. I'll show you up close of it afterwards. Here's the back side of it. Big happy hot pink buttons on it. Okay, and then hold on. What I did instead is that I continued with my pink and I put it on a midnight blue fabric as a solid contrast instead. So this has a lot more contrast to it. It's maybe a little bit flashier. I think that midnight blue, that almost black, gives it a really nice, gives a really nice richness to the pinks and kind of picks up very nicely. And then I used a like a apricot-y pink fabric for the binding too. So I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I actually ended up putting a border on it too, to kind of really frame these kind of pink balls, if you want, into the quilt. So I have to admit that if it was for personal use and this is a quilt for my daughter, I would totally continue in this color scheme. Like, I think this is very beautiful with the you know, tone on tone whites and then the pinks together. It's just that if you're putting your quilt in a market booth, for example, you need people to really notice it. And I thought maybe that the dark background would just add more punch to the quilt, and I'm very satisfied with that result. So again, you can see based on that first video too, like how I have this really big variety of pinks and not quite pinks, and somehow it all kind of works together and you get a really whimsical, scrappy effect. But you know, there's still a plan behind all of this. And then I used like an art gallery low volume as a border to frame and make the flange for the pillow. And on the back side, I didn't have enough of this fabric, but I was in the mood to make do, so I inserted this strip of Tula pink, and then I could have used a zipper, I guess, to make an envelope pillow, but I like these big noisy buttons, and so that's what I ended up doing. But anyway, so here you can kind of see how that pink shows up on the dark background, and so it adds just a lot more punch, if you want. And the log cabin blocks that I'm using here, you probably noticed, are curved log cabins. I haven't printed this yet, but I will. I have a big teaching event coming up, but after that I will send this off to the printer, so it will be available in the shop. So the color, the pink half of the block here, has pretty wide bars, and then there's just 1/4 inch bars on the black side. And then I also made the black, it's not really black technically, it's brown, it's blue, but I made that the longest bar so that the balls end up not touching, so they're all kind of floating in that dark space. So I'm sure at some point I'll put up a video tutorial on exactly how to get this effect too. But I'll do that once I get the print, or the print job back, so the templates are actually available in the shop. So I love how this turned out. I think this is really fun and very effectful. So you can see each ball here is made up of 4 blocks. So that's how that turned out. Scrappy yellow and no, scrappy white and pink quilt turned into scrappy pink and midnight blue quilt instead. And that's okay. Sometimes our color schemes and our ideas have to get adjusted along the way, and I think that's part of our fun creative journey. So have a good day and go make your own log cabin quilt.